needed in order for it to remove whatever growth happens on it. So we're looking at mold, we're looking at barnacle growth inside of the marine industry. We're looking at graffiti as well, buildings outside, public buildings, residential buildings, and the technology could be used there as well. Imagine just being able to use a spot placed on your wall, think Juve, all the money to paint on your wall, how easy it would be to use in that context. Right. So, within the Caribbean context, where can we see nanotechnology fitting in? We see it fitting in inside of the shipbuilding and the ship repair industry. This is what we spoke about with respect to marine uses. We see it inside of the merchant marine and yachting. This here is a level below. This is more what you'll find in Chaguaramas, the yachties, etc. So those smaller vessels is what we're looking at there. Residential, commercial, building maintenance, the cleaning of the buildings, lessening the amount of time that you have to spend cleaning those buildings. Imagine those tall skyscrapers in Port of Spain and the amount of times per year that you might have to, pressure wash the sides of the buildings, etc. Imagine the amount of money that could be saved by using the nano coating. Could last maybe 2 years before you have to do the next high level up in the air type of cleaning. Okay, the experts that we spoke with when we wanted to discuss how we could apply the technology locally inside of the local markets, we spoke with Mr. Wilfred Gans. He's the chairman and CEO of the Shipbuilding and Repair Company of Trinidad and Tobago. He would give us a sense in terms of the marine industry. How can the superhydrophobic coating be applied there? Mr. Simon Cabral, Painting and Coatings Manager for FT Fafa. FT Fafa is a huge distributor of international brands locally. So is that something that we can source from the international inventors, producers, and provide it on a local market? We also spoke to Mr. Edward Cacao. He is the acting managing director of Penta. Penta itself not only distributes international brands, but they also have the ability or the lab facilities to manufacture locally. Is that something that we could provide on a local scale? Can Trinidad and Tobago manufacture superhydrophobic coating? Okay, so now we're going to discuss the market as it exists. This would be the financial realistic look of Trinidad and Tobago as it exists right now with respect to the paintings and coatings.
Pretty much all architectural, industrial, light industrial, homeowner, automotive, and marine lines are available in Trinidad and Tobago by FT Fafa and competitors.
Okay. We also asked Mr. Cacao the same question from the perspective of Penta, which again, distributor plus also production capabilities.
The paints is involved in decorative coatings under the Penta brand, industrial coatings under the international brand, which is also marine, and the Vivo brand, as well as some Penta, in some Penta light industrial as well. We are involved heavily and dominate the automotive recoating sector with Knox Autocolor, the IMBDI brand, and we are really the fullest spectrum coatings provider in the region. The others will do all, but we do all better. And as I was mentioning earlier, through the international brand, we have been really fleshing out our product offering, especially in the industrial and marine coatings in the last year. Getting into areas that we had not been before. In fact, we didn't know were available to us.
Okay. So from a monetary perspective, what does that mean? Global scale coatings amount to $1.1 trillion. That is the amount, trillion dollars. That's the amount of money that we have access to on a global scale when it comes to coatings. Marine coatings specifically, that is a $4.7 billion industry on a global scale. Trinidad and Tobago, how much money is of that amount do we make? We have 400 million, 600 million USD in our market alone. Alright? With respect to the marine coatings market, we have to understand within Trinidad, because a lot of the companies are private, access to data becomes an issue. Companies tend to hold close monies that are made, profits that are made, etc., losses that are made. So we aren't able to get sufficient data for you today with respect to the marine coatings. But efficient. We spoke a little bit about drag. Again, the less drag you have, the faster you can go, the more efficient you are, the less energy you use, the less gas you put inside of your large tanker, etc. Superhydrophobic marine coating, it will offer a world-class performance on ship hulls ranging from small crafts, yachts, barges, Panamax-sized vessels, ultra-large crude carriers. Okay, so you have a sense in terms of exactly who it is we're going after. This is the yachties down in Chaguaramas. These are the large cruise ships that we have coming in, bringing in tourists. This is the energy sector as a whole. Everybody needs to be maintained, and we would like to provide the coating that allows them to do it efficiently and allows them to stay on the water for a lengthier period of time. Superhydrophobic marine coating, it will be surpass all performance, physical properties, resist chemicals, weathering, and corrosion. It will be something that we can be proud of, that we can stand by. If we say that we're looking to attract international carriers to come by to bring their vessels, obviously they're expecting a certain level, a certain quality of product. That's something that they can find inside of Trinidad and Tobago, whether it's we are distributing it, sourcing it from abroad, and holding it here for you when you pass through, or actually producing it. Okay, does that really make sense? Is it really feasible? Okay, so how do we go about determining whether or not it's feasible? Let's look at some points then. Are we able to readily source it, distribute it, manufacture it, produce it locally? Okay, so that comes into the relationships, the partnerships that we can link with whether it's producers in Germany, inside of the US, etc. If it's something that we can produce locally, do we have the facilities here? Do we have the knowledge base here as well to not only start it up, but to keep it going and to keep the quality going as well? With respect to the marine coating, we are looking to brand it as high-end, high performance. We're not looking to compete with the smaller producers, with the silicone producers. It's something that you can expect. It's going to be a little pricier than what you're currently accustomed to spending, but in the long run, is it going to mean that you can keep your ship on the water a lot longer, not have to draw it out of water, dry dock it? Could be beneficial to you. Also, we have to highlight the cost benefits to consumers. Mr. Cabral basically spoke about if Penta were to look at using superhydrophobic coating, the feasibility, the components of their feasibility study that they would look at.
Competition in the industry in Trinidad very stiff as it is on a global scale. Local suppliers such as Penta, Sissons, Kaleidoscope, to name a few, have each created a niche market and good distribution channels. Each of them have their own distribution channels. You would of course know Sissons have their color shops, Kaleidoscopes distribute through hardwares and so forth. Berger similarly is a woman's foreign owned. Sherwin-Williams is very strong in the architectural, they're becoming stronger in the industrial, commercial and home. Amaron, Sigma and Juta basically carry the marine industrial market. And then they have foreign brands that are carried by the local suppliers. So for example, in Sissons they carry glitter. So there's that range as well. Valspa, Ashley Lauren, and products like Ace get in through large hardware such as Balwansing and Peaks. Peaks carries Valspa, Balwansing carries Ace, so they have those lines as well. They also carry paints from large companies such as Axel Nobel and Rust-Oleum, which is my direct supplier, but they can't supply my price, obviously. And then there's specialized companies such as SCL, Specialist Chemicals, who actually buy ingredients and make their own coatings and epoxies and so forth. So competition is very high in Trinidad as it is on a global scale. But I guess it makes it all the more exciting and all the more ability for us to customize products to you guys.
Sorry, that was false advertising on my behalf. That was actually Mr. Cabral from FT Farfar. He was giving us a sense of the rivalry within the paint and coating industry. So, back now to Mr. Kakal when he speaks about the different components to consider for a feasibility study.
Competition in the industry in Trinidad very stiff as it is on a global scale.
To me, the benefit of using something like that, if as you say, it reduces friction, you could possibly see a reduction in fuel costs. And if you're able to read reduction in fuel costs over, say, the course of a year, even a 1% reduction in fuel costs will probably make the cost of the extra cost of a coating viable. Of course, this has to be tested in real life, see trials and verify that. If your time between dry docking your vessel can be reduced, say from 2 years to 3 years, or 3 years to 4 years, again, more time on the water, less time out of the water, commercial benefit. Money saved by not having to hold or not having to dry dock so long. If you just have to do that with the vessel, if the coating lasts longer, again has to be proven. But if that works, then that presents a huge payback for financial terms. So the return on investment is the benefits of it.
Great. Now we have to look at the impact on the market. Bringing in superhydrophobic coating, what does that mean? What does that do to the current market as it exists? What does it do to jobs? What does it do to the industry? We don't necessarily see a negative impact. Again, we're not competing with the current products available within the coatings industry. We're going at a high end. We're looking at a niche market that we're going after. A particular client that's looking for a particular quality of product that's willing to pay a specific amount of money to get it. We are going to be the primary distributor. We spoke about being unique here, Professor Carrillo. Our unique ability would be the fact that whatever partnership we have, we'd be the first to bring it down. We'd be the first ones to introduce it. We'd be the first ones to possibly produce it locally once we're able to source, again, the technology and have source the knowledge as well to maintain it. So the focus again will be on attracting international marine companies to utilize Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, we have a huge sector, a huge energy sector, sorry. Yes, we can source those locally, but one of the points that we came across, we have 31,000 ships that use our waters on an annual basis. That's a lot of ships. Those are a lot of ships to access. We consider the rate at which ships are being produced on a global scale compared to the number of dry docks that are available globally in order to service those ships. So again, it's something for us to look at. And what I want us to consider again is the ability for us to exploit our location with respect to Panama, with respect to South America. We'll move into a video, and this one, I spoke to you earlier about Mr. Ligans, the CEO of Shipbuilding and Repair. This was an interview done alongside Mr. Cesar Gomez, General Counsel for Panama in 2010. It gives you a sense of the plans that Panama has to expand the canal. Expanding the canal means more ships. More ships means that how more docking facilities are needed. And Mr. Ligans also has a plan as well in terms of how Trinidad and Tobago as well as the region can maximize on that increase in ships happening right next door.
Because everybody saw the studies how the impact is going to be in the Gulf of Mexico and the United States, the east coast of the United States, but downstairs by the south, there are the three main ports that feed the south from the Atlantic, the Buenos Aires, Montevideo, and Santos in Brazil. So that created a line of movement that passed to Trinidad. Through Trinidad.
So this will hopefully open up trade routes between South America and the western side of
and when you have that kind of movements around of big ships, somebody has to stop in the gas station to fill gas and to repair your car. So that's part of the opportunity that Trinidad now has that vision to take advantage in advance.
24.
Okay, now that was in 2010, and you see how close we are to 2014, and you begin to ask yourself, have we positioned ourselves to maximize on that opportunity? Superhydrophobic coating aside, have we positioned ourselves to diversify what we offer the global community? We're in a location where we have not that many worries about hurricanes. A prayer or two usually helps us along, but that is something that is a huge benefit when it comes to international vessels or international companies thinking about where it is that they want to house their vessels during these particular hurricane seasons. So again, are we maximizing our position? Are we maximizing what we're able to offer? Right. ships function that we service or would like to service, the growth rate of the barnacles is a lot larger than what you'd expect in temperate regions. So again, yes, there will always be barnacle growing, there will always be a need for you to dry dock, and you will always need someone to clean it for you, and there will also be a need once that is stripped off for someone to place the anti-fouling coating on it for you. Why not Trinidad and Tobago? Some images of the things you can find on the bottom of your ship when you put it up to dry dock. Interesting. We spoke about the impact in the marine biofouling. We saw reduction, 40% higher fuel consumption. Again, that's just reducing the efficiency of the ship itself. Overall increase in the cost of a voyage of 77%. That is huge. When you're looking at your books, balancing your books, that is huge. If you can find something to offset that, drop that by even 20%, 30%, that is a huge savings for you, a huge benefit, something that's very attractive to you when you're looking at your bottom line. Increased frequency of dry docking, we discussed that as well too. The more it grows, the faster it grows, the faster you have to come back to port to clean it, to have it cleaned off. Toxic waste as well. Every time you bring your ship, every time you dry dock your ship, every time we have to strip your ship and sandblast your ship, those are the toxin, the remnants, the residues of the past coatings that you've used. A lot of the coatings that are currently on the market as well, environmentally aren't that friendly. Whatever toxins are currently placed in them to help you to either reduce the amount of fouling occurring on your ship. They tell you that they're going to help you with respect to your drag in the water, your efficiency there. At the end of the day, the other side of it is the environmental impact that you're having. What do? The waste that you leave behind the particular port country, as well as what you're dragging along in the water on a daily basis. What else we have? Okay, so we looked at the scale of coatings, $90 billion. Expected growth rate, 10%, $99 billion. That was in 2011. Protective marine coatings, it represents the third largest application field, 12%. So that's about $10.8 billion. Potentially $11.88 billion in 2011. So again, we're looking at a huge market, a huge money stream that we could tap into. It already exists. Things are already in place. So it's just for us to figure out how it is we're going to maximize on it locally. Right? Okay, so again, it's going to address the anti-fouling issue. So what's something that we wanted to look at again with respect to Mr. Gans, who gave us a lot of his time in order to help us to determine how it could be best utilized in this specific ship repair and shipbuilding industry. So I'm just going to go across an interview that we did with him where he gives us a clearer sense of how it can be used.
Our company, together with its active stakeholders and industrial partners, are also looking closely at the superhydrophobic coatings to be part of the inventory. And together this, we are looking carefully at the possibility of setting up a